little people, big people, all people. This is another episode of Buffed Up Sports, the only podcast that talks Detroit sports, the WNBA, and boxing. So thank you for clicking on this episode. But first, few ground rules. If you want to go on the Buffed Up Sports website, go to buffedupsports.com. There, you will find the social media platforms that I'm on, and you will find the platforms that Buffed Up Sports is on, such as the podcasting platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Or if you like the video aspect, you can check out the YouTube channel as well. So go to buffedupsports.com for those things, as well as if you want to send, a little cha-ching, it's ways that you can help me out and financially support the show. So go to buffedupsports.com for that. Again, thank you for clicking on this episode. Please subscribe. So subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Apple, subscribe on Spotify, subscribe on wherever you listen to the podcast on. Please subscribe. With that being said, again, thanks y'all. Hope you enjoy this one. Let's get on with the show. Listen, y'all. What LeBron say? This is not season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4, but season 5. This is the premiere, season 5 of Buffed Up Sports. And hold on. Not only is this the premiere of season 5, this is not 1, not 2, not 3, but the 4th annual Buffed Up Sports Award Show. Yo, we at the 5th season premiere for the 4th annual Buffed Up Sports Award Show. For those who don't know how the award show works, we break down all of the Detroit sports, boxing, and the WNBA, everything in the last 12 months. And to start the year off, we got to give a recap of last year. So let's swerve in that corner. Whoa. I had to find a way to incorporate that. In fact, true story, real quick before we get started. So y'all know I'll be at the Lions games. I'm leaving the Lions game, the most recent one, and we were on the bus, gotta catch a shuttle back to the garage I park at. But I'm on the shuttle bus going back to my garage, and the bus driver hit the curb. So me being me, I yell out, I might swerve in that corner, whoa, and the whole bus started dying laughing. But I had a great time at that game. I mean, the Vikings got beat by them Lions, boy. Like, go. But yeah, I mean, life is good. The Pistons are playing 500 ball. The Red Wings have started off 2025 straight after firing their coach. The Tigers got Scooble back for at least one more year. And the Lions got the number 1 seed in the NFC for the playoffs. So life is good. But let's go through these award shows. First off, the Rookie of the Year. Last year's winner was Jahmyr Gibbs. Let's keep that in mind. But this year, we could go with Caitlin Clark. We could go with Angel Reese. We could go with Ron Holland of the Pistons. But my pick is Terrion Arnold. Terrion Arnold is my pick for Rookie of the Year. The reason I picked Terrion Arnold because, Terrion, he gets called for a lot of flags and whatnot. But when he misses games or he misses plays, you realize what you had. So, I'm looking at Chauncey right now. My bad. Let's fix Chauncey up. I dapped up Chauncey last week. I just want y'all to know that. Side note. But, whatchamacallit? So, back to Terrion Arnold, though, in all seriousness. So, Terrion Arnold, he's one of those, you realize what you had once it's gone. So, I'm going to give Terrion Arnold the Rookie of the Year because when he's not on the field, it shows. So, Terrion Arnold's my Rookie of the Year. Boxer of the Year, we got Claressa Shields, Javante Tank Davis, Alexander Usyk, or Naoya Inoue. Last year, the winner was Naoya Inoue, but this year, I'm going with Alexander Usyk. Hey, my man beat, who was once upon a time one of the top pound-for-pound fighters in Tyson Fury, but he beat him twice. Back-to-back, both. The first one was a classic, and then you got the second bout, which was honestly a pretty convincing win for a guy who was supposed to be the top heavyweight of the last decade. So therefore, Alexander Usyk is my fighter of the year. WNBA player of the year. Last year winner was Asia Wilson. Make it 2 times now. Wait, excuse me. 3-time now winner, Asia Wilson, for my WNBA Player of the Year. She was the MVP. Asia did things that ain't just been done in the NBA. I mean, joining a group of players who've won their 3rd MVP. Got to give it to Asia Wilson, man. She had a season better than any other player. In fact, undisputed MVP. Come on now, man. Undisputed. How many people have won undisputed MVPs? How many people have won 3 MVPs? Asia Wilson's my WNBA Player of the Year. This is one I always do every year. The WWE Moment of the Year. I like to sprinkle this one in because everybody know I'm a fan of WWE on the side. Like this upcoming year, we got the John Cena Farewell Tour that might bring some tears to my eyes. But hey, nevertheless, my favorite WWE moment had to be the last 5 to 10 minutes of that Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes match during WrestleMania 40, Night 2, in the main event. I mean, if you watched it, you already know what went down. First, we get Solo. No. We got Jimmy Uso. Then Jay Uso comes out. Then Solo Sikoa comes out. Then John Cena comes out. Then The Rock comes out. Then The Undertaker comes out. Then Seth Rollins comes out. And then we got The Rock back in it. Then we got Roman Reigns back. It just, if you've seen what happened, it was like, if you've watched WWE in the last, let's say, if you've been watching for the last, well, honestly, from now till 20 years ago, your whole life just got shown in a span of like 5 to 10 minutes, like literally. So I got to give it to that moment. Now, let's go with episode of the year. I got to go with my last one, y'all. The LL Cool RJ, you know? I ain't got the hat today, but we got the glasses and nothing else. It's like, nah. But, my episode of the year, let me get this back lined up. There we go. My episode of the year, I kind of want to put them back on. But, my episode of the year is titled Fixing the WNBA All-Star Game, Red Wings Giving Hope, Big Boxing Bookings, and Clark Making History. Why is that my episode of the year? Because that was the first episode I brought to YouTube in Buffed Up Sports history. First episode. Like I said, y'all, we in season 5. It took me to season 4. It took me 4 years before I finally brought Buffed Up Sports to YouTube. And things have been looking up since. Like, honestly, this past year was probably the best year for Buffed Up Sports. I mean, we was making some noise this past year. I mean, let me just break it down real quick. I finally got some media credentials to events. I got media credentials to Lions events, the NFL draft. I'm getting credentials to the Tigers games. I'm getting credentials to boxing matches, world championship boxing matches too. And then interviewing Hall of Famers, WNBA All-Star Game. What else I got to keep in mind? At the Lions games now. Like, Buffed Up Sports had a great year, and we were just surrounded by so much sports, but not only but we were in person to see a lot of great things. But I kind of got to give the shout out to YouTube. I can't forget the Michigan Panthers. Shout out Michigan Panthers, home of Jake Bates. But I just feel like all that came from YouTube. I have some stuff to send in to people finally versus them listening. They can actually see me in the flesh. They can see my energy, feel my energy off the camera, like what I'm giving y'all right now. And it just made a difference. So shout out YouTube. Shout out that episode, because that was the first episode of Buffed Up Sports that was on YouTube, not just major podcasting platforms, audio only. Because don't forget, we still do our audio only episodes for those who don't want to see me. Like, if I'm that ugly, you don't want to look at me, fine. But we still got those episodes for you. Whew, this is a tough one. Lifetime Achievement Award. There's a few people to pick from. This is a tough one because last year I gave it to Detroit Shock legends Swin Cash and Tweety Nolan. But this year, I got some people to pick from. I got Brittany Griner. Yeah. Oh, let me break down the Lifetime Achievement Award. The Lifetime Achievement Award usually goes to a big athlete that I met in that past year, right? So that's why last year Swingcast Tweet Nolan was like my pick. But I can't decide, y'all. This year I got to pick. Brittany Griner's an option. We all know Brittany Griner's story. Politics aside, whether you thought she should have came home or not, she went through it, right? But also not only politics, but one of the best WNBA players of the past decade, you know? So Brittany Griner's an option. My favorite WNBA player of all time, A'ja Wilson. That's an option. Met her this past year. One of my favorite Detroit boxers, because I know when we think Detroit boxing, we think Joe Louis. We think Tommy Hearns, or Michigan boxers in general, because I can expand it to Floyd Mayweather or James Toney. But outside of like catching like the second half of Floyd's career, the Detroit boxer that I grew up on, that was like world champ for me when I was, starting to watch the sport, Tony Harrison. So he's an option. Met Tony. Claressa Shields, the GOAT, the greatest women's boxer of all time out of Flint, Michigan. So continuing that Michigan boxing thing, she's up there. Met her. Cover her, shout out Claressa Shields. She did a lot for Big Time Boxing, because that's the promotion. Under Salida promotion she would fight under. That's the event name, Big Time Boxing. But she did a lot for Buffalo Sports, is what I want to say. Some of my most viewed videos, TikToks, YouTube shorts, reels, whatever you call it, had to do with Claressa Shields this past year. So, gotta give her some love.
Hey, it's your girl Claressa the GOAT Shields, and I'm here with Buffalo Sports.
But I think I'm gonna go with a boxer who got one of my favorite boxing matches of all time. He definitely got my favorite boxing round. He's a part of my favorite boxing round of all time. And if you ain't never seen Marvin Hagler versus Tommy Hearns, then you need to check that out, because round one is the greatest round in boxing history. You want to talk about two guys that just go at it like they hated each other? Like, it wasn't none of that let me feel you out, skip the feel you out process. It was like a video game. Just smash all the buttons you could think of, and we just gonna hope something land. Like, that's literally round one of Marvin Hagler versus Tommy Hearns, a good description of it. So, with that being said, we talking Detroit boxing legends. Yes, Tommy Hearns stands at like the top of the food chain, if you want to ask me. And just being able to meet him, like, the man was on Martin, the TV show. What else I gotta say? But I bet, and not only did I meet Tommy once, I actually met Tommy twice this year. So, and both times, great interaction with them. Therefore, honestly, my Lifetime Achievement Award, the man, one of my favorite boxers of all time. I'm going with Tommy Hearns, y'all. Detroit legend. Ooh, I got a good one. This is a sad one. The bummer of the year. Last year, it was the Detroit Pistons whole season. And shout out the Pistons, because last year, we already know what happened last year. But look at this year, y'all. Like, the fact we made it to a 500 winning percentage in the month of January is insane. Like, we already beat last season's winning total. If the season ended, you're going to probably have a playing shot. Like, shout out the new Pistons. They're turning things around, it seems like. Cade Cunningham. We talked about this last episode. Do I think he's an all-star? Yes. Do I think he's going to make it? No. But it's the fact that he's playing at an all-star level that's just, shout out to Pistons. I know they ain't won all the fans back yet. Rightfully so, because they got, 10, 15 years to make up for. But if nothing else, I think things are going in the right direction. That's my take. Now, back to it. Bummer of the year. I could talk about the Pistons because, I mean, technically last year was still the bummer. We could talk about the Red Wings being a game out of the playoffs. We could talk about the ALDS, that grand slam hit on Scooble, which that's probably your pick any day of the year, any day of the week, any day of the day, except the Lions. I try not to talk about this, y'all. It brings back trauma. But that cold January night, when the Lions were in the NFC Championship game and had a 17-point lead at halftime, and it evaporated. That will be my bummer of the year. Knowing you were one half away from the Super Bowl, knowing you just had to play defense for 17. You just had to make sure 16 points didn't give up unanswered. You know? And then considering you lose by 3, hey, you score one more field goal, at least we're going to overtime in this game at this point. And then we already know the stories of what happened in this game. There are so many plays that happen. Individual plays that if you get one of those back, just one, you're winning the game. 2 Josh Reynolds 4th down passes that are catchable, that are dropped. A Jahmyr Gibbs fumble at the goal line that does not happen. Going forward on 4th down, that rule that it was a 3rd 4th down we went for that we didn't get. Incompletion. Ball thrown at the grass. Nobody kind of near it. Bill Dorr not batting the ball down, intercepting the ball for 49ers catch off the helmet. Ball bounces off the helmet catch. At the end of the half, Dan Campbell elected to kick the field goal instead of go for the touchdown, which I actually said go for it, because I was like, you up 2 touchdowns. You go up 3, kind of into the game. But a lot of people said take the points, which honestly, looking back, that's the smart way, just take the points. But that was the one I said. The other 4th downs, I was like, maybe not go for it. That one, I was like, go for it, ironically. And I'm not just saying that just to say it, just to be, against the rules. But the bummer of the year is the NFC Championship game. And I really hope the Lions can make up for that, because that was bummer of the year. We're talking a year later, and that one still sting. That one's going to sting for a while. In fact, just before I started recording, I was watching a TikTok earlier, and it was talking about every NFL's team moment, every NFL's team, worst moment of the last 25 years. And this is how bad I try to forget about the NFC Championship game. When they get to the Lions, first thing I'm thinking is Dallas playoffs years ago. Brandon Pettigrew picked up flag. That's what I'm thinking. Because I be really trying to block that NFC Championship game out of my head. And when they brought that up, I'm like, well, duh. We were 30 minutes away from the Super Bowl. Yeah, that would be the worst moment in the last 25 years. I absolutely agree. But that's how bad that moment was. We're going to remember that for the rest of our lifetimes, y'all. But on a positive note, the game of the year, we got the Tigers versus the Guardians, game 2. My boy Kerry Bonds, hitting that big home run to put the Tigers up. We got this past season, or the 2024 NFL season, should I say, season opener, Sunday Night Football, Lions versus Rams. Rematch of last year's playoff game, which is the winner. Not the Sunday Night Football game, but the playoff game. The Lions versus Rams playoff game. Stafford's first game back in Detroit. The Lions on the verge of winning their first playoff win in 30-something years. The first playoff game in Ford Field history. That's the game of the year by far. Y'all seen the video of me when I watched that game? What? Let's go!
Tickets in the mail. All we do is win, we ain't taking L's. Man, shut the up. After this game, we about to turn up. Call Hutch, we need the whole team buffed up. We just won another game, they can't touch us. We about to win another game, they know what's up.
And ironically, we might be playing the Rams again at Ford Field. Because guess what, y'all? For the first time in history, I'm going to my first ever Lions playoff game. I'm not joking. I'm going to the game. That's why I was really hoping the Lions could beat the Vikings to get the number 1 seed so we could get home field, because I just wanted to go to a playoff game. And we're going. So we got that going for us. Let me flip my script a little bit. Let's go with Fight of the Year / Performance of the Year, boxing. Last year, it was Crawford versus Spence for the Performance of the Year. This year, let's go Fight of the Year, though. It was 3 fights that stood out to me because of the entertainment value due to the pre-hype of the fight, but also the actual fight itself. Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney. That had the during hype, and it had the post-fight hype. Because pre-fight, all the trash talking. We got the fight, all the knockdowns that Ryan was able to get. We got post-fight, Ryan tested positive for steroids and Haney suing him. Like, that fight right there might be Fight of the Year, truth be told, because of the entertainment factor. But it's not my pick. See, I thought about Gervonta Tank Davis versus Frank Martin, just because Tank's my favorite fighter, honestly. Most exciting fighter to me. And it's the way this fight had me consider for a second because of my reaction when Tank got the knockout. It was like, I flipped out, like I blacked out kind of deal, like, wow. But my Fight of the Year is definitely Alexander Usyk versus Tyson Fury Part 1. That's a classic. The first time we seen Fury in that amount of trouble, and the fact that everybody thought Usyk would be too little to do it, and he did it. Fight of the Year. Fight of the Year. The team with the best fans last year, it was the Lions. You know, it's not the Red Wings fans. Tigers fans got a strong consideration from me because of the fact that, you know, that team was down and out. And when they made that playoff run, no fans came back. The Pistons get a strong consideration from me because even though that team is not that great, especially in the last, recent memory, they have not been great. Their fan attendance is still pretty decent. Like, their fans stick with them. It's almost like the Lions, I'm going to give it to them. But I got something to say about these Lions fans. Let's first talk about these new Lions fans. I don't like y'all. And you know why I don't like y'all? Because a lot of y'all laughed at me every Sunday because I'd be like, I'm trying to get home to watch the Lions. Or, hey, I don't feel like doing nothing today until after the Lions game. And I got laughed at. I got, jokes ran at me because people be like, oh, you watching the Lions, you wasting your time. Or they see me in Lions gear, they be like, oh, why would you support a team like that? Like, yo, I didn't ask to be a Lions fan. I was born into it, but since I was, I'm going to stick with them. Like, do you know how many times I was upset asking me, like, Dad, why did you make me a Lions fan? I didn't want to be a Lions fan, but again, I was born into it. I ain't going to leave now. And look what happened. The team finally win it, and it's all worth it. Now I can finally say, like, hey, all the misery and the betrayal, the bamboozle, like, it feels good now because we get to be like, we told y'all so. We that team that's at the top of the food chain now. We was the team that nobody even cared about. We couldn't even get a primetime game if we wanted to. But now we get 4 or 5 primetime games a season. We get NFC 1 seeds. We are the team to beat in the playoffs because we got home field the whole way through. Who would have thought even 3 years ago the Lions would get home field advantage through the whole playoffs? But you know what I don't like about you new fans? See, again, somebody like me, I always had Lions gear on deck. I always watched Lions games. I tried to go to games if I could. And then on top of that, you know, now I ain't gonna lie, they kind of priced out some fans, which I totally respect. I get it. Them ticket prices shot up once the team start winning. So if you ain't going to games now, but you're used to, hey, more credit to you. But this is my problem with the new fans. Y'all chant Jared Goff at the wrong games. Y'all chant it at the wrong times. If we got the ball on offense, shut the heck up. This is the time to shut up, be silent. This ain't the time to chant Jared Goff. If they report Dan Skipper is eligible for the game, don't cheer. Shut up. The offense is in a huddle trying to get a play. Y'all stupid chanting Jared Goff. Well, Jared Goff's too busy working on a job at the time. And then on top of that, you want to chant, let's go Lions. You do it when a player's hurt. You chant Jared Goff when a player's hurt. You at the Pistons games, chanting Jared Goff when Tim Hardaway just got his head busted in. Like, chill on the chants. Do it at the right time. If the team up 20, whatever, or if we kneeing the ball out at the end of the game, do whatever you want to do. Like at that last game, they chant Skull, they chant Jared Goff, they chant Let's Go Lions. They doing all that. Yeah, because we up 20 points in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left. Go for it at that point. I don't care. But your new fans, y'all always act like y'all, you've been a fan since day one when you won. You weren't there for 0-16. You weren't there for when Calvin Johnson caught the touchdown pass. They ruled it, no touchdown. He didn't complete the process. You weren't there for Golden State when he was a yard short. Golden State when he was a yard short and they had the 10-second rule off. You weren't there for all that. Y'all don't understand my pain. And then I go to Target and Walmart and CVS and Walgreens and Kroger's because I'm going to put an S on it because I'm from the Midwest and all the other stores, Myers. And I see y'all in these stores and you're wearing your Lions gear, knowing y'all thinking y'all been a fan since day one when you won. Then you got the ones posted, oh yeah, Lions won. You posted on your Instagram stories, your Facebook stories. You're putting your tweets on Twitter. You're doing all this Facebook posting, talking about, yeah, Lions won. Did you say the Lions won? Hey, it was times the Lions won 1, 2, 3 games a whole season, and I would be posting the Lions won. Y'all were too busy be like, oh, we didn't even know they played today. We don't care because we don't watch. See, y'all the fake fans I don't like. Y'all don't even know half the players on the team now. If you can't name every player, not every player, but every starter, then if you can't name me David Montgomery's position, if you can't tell me how long Kirby Joseph been on the team, if you can't do these kind of things for me, you're not a real fan if I'm being honest with you. Now, that's my rant. Now, what's up, everybody? If you didn't know, I am a car salesman. I'm a car salesman at Gene Butman Ford. Yes, I sell cars. I sell new. I sell used. Whatever you are trying to hop in and drive off with, I will sell it to you. So come check me out, RJ at Gene Butman Ford. You can call me at 734-544-2870. You can email me, which is rjhunt@butmanford.com. We are located on Washington Avenue. We right near Eastern Michigan campus. So come check us out. Come check me out. And hey, touchdown on your new car and drive like a superstar. My apology of the year. Last year was J-Mo. This year is Terrion Arnold. Because again, Terrion Arnold gets a lot of flags thrown in his direction, but when he misses a game, you realize how much you miss him. So, Terrion, it's my apology of the year. Because when he is gone, you realize how much he impacts the game. My GM of the year. He's a 3-time winner now. 3 straight winner now. Brad Holmes. Look at the way he's turned this team around. Brad Holmes is my GM of the year. He built the team again that went from winning 4 games in 2020 that he took it over. We won 15 games this year, y'all. Coach of the year. This is a tough one because I could go AJ Hinch. I could go JB Bickerstaff. I could go Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell has won it before. AJ Hinch has won it before. JB Bickerstaff, honestly, I gotta make a decision. JB Bickerstaff did have a Pistons team win the games they won last year. He matched that total by December. You got AJ Hinch, who had a team out of the playoffs with a 0.2% chance to make it beginning of August, got in and won a series. But then you got Dan Campbell, who took a team to 15 wins, the most in Lions history. Truth be told, much as I love Dan, I'm going AJ Hinch, y'all. I'm going AJ Hinch because of the fact, like I said, they had a 0.2% chance of making the playoffs. And not only did they make the playoffs, they won a series. They was a grand slam away from winning 2 series. They was a grand slam away from the ALCS, y'all. AJ Hinch is my coach of the year. My Detroit Sports Player of the Year. I could go my boy Tarek Scoble. I go Cade Cunningham. I could go Jared Goff. I could go my boy St. John. If you know, you know. I'm a Ross St. Brown, but I'm going. Hey, St. Brown won it last year, by the way. I'm going Tarek Scoble, man. You're Cy Young winner. You know you're the pitching Triple Crown winner. You led the league in ERA, strikeouts, and wins. Tarek Scoble is my Detroit Sports Player of the Year. My Detroit Sports Team of the Year. Shout out to the Tigers for making the playoffs, but it's no doubt the Detroit Lions. The moment of the year. Last year it was the Lions clinching the division against the Vikings. But this year we got so many moments that I covered the Clarissa Shields Championship bout. I got to interview Tommy Hearns. I was at the WNBA All-Star game. I got to meet Taylor Rooks. The Tigers clinched the playoffs. Derek Barnes interception against the Buccaneers in the the NFC the NFC divisional game. Kerry Carpenter lay home run against the Indians, not the Indians, the Guardians. And then the Lions winning their first playoff game in 30 years. First home game. It's got to be that one, y'all. That moment right there, it's like, I don't think people realize this much. That was like probably a top 5 moment of my life. Like, that moment for me was a top 5 night of my life, easily. Because I got to kick it with the fam to enjoy this moment. My favorite team just won a playoff game. I've never seen them win a playoff game a day in my life, and they finally did it. I'm at the bar high-fiving everybody. That's my moment, y'all. That's my moment. We almost done here, y'all. That was the end of the awards, but let's go through these New Year's resolutions. So 2025, it's a new year, y'all. Let's talk about things RJ wants to see in the upcoming year. And I also like to do this segment by breaking down what happened last year. And did it come true or not? So let's go. Boxing. My goal was to see Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. Neither one of those fights happened, but I believe we're even closer than ever now because all 3 of those fighters took a loss last year. So they kind of got to fight each other if they want to get back, to higher status, which they all said they want to do. My goal was also for Gervonta Tank Davis to have at least 2 or more fights. That did not happen. He had only 1 fight. So both of my boxing resolutions failed. But it's all good because this year, we go pretty much run back what I said last year. I want Wilder versus Joshua more than ever now. I honestly want Deontay Wilder to get his belt back. I want Devin Haney to fight Tank, Shakur, T.O., somebody. I want to see all those happen. So, yeah, that's my resolutions for this year. Last year, for the WNBA, my resolution was a team to come back to Detroit or at least Ohio, maybe even Toronto. I'm happy to say Toronto for sure happened. And Ohio is a good possibility in the next 2 years. Detroit, we gonna still keep hoping, y'all. But that brings up my resolution this year. My resolution for the WNBA is for Asia Wilson to get ring number 3 and for a team to at least be announced to come back to Detroit. I just want Detroit back in the running. For the Red Wings, last year my goal was for them to make the playoffs. They were a game short. This year I got nothing. I thought they would be a better team. Hey, 2025 started and, they started rolling. But hopefully the Red Wings can get up in there. For the Tigers, last year my goal was for them to make a playoff run. They did just that. They made a playoff run. They made the playoffs. So, hey, they did better than what I expected them to do. So next year, let's go for the ALCS. Let's do it. Let's go to the ALCS. Last year, my goal was for the Pistons to get the number 1 pick. They did not get the number 1 pick. But the team is looking better than last year, so you got to take that for what it is. This year's goal is for them to be a playing team, which I think is doable. Last year, the goal for the Detroit Lions was win the Super Bowl. They were a half away from going, and I truly believe if they made it, they would have won because I definitely think they would have beat Kansas City Chiefs in that game. But the goal for this year, go win the Super Bowl. And that's on St. John. Thank you all for listening to today's episode. I hope you come back for more episodes. Remember to please subscribe on whatever platform you are watching or listening to Buffed Up Sports on. If you can, comment, leave a rating, leave a review, because I love to hear all the feedback. Feedback is appreciated. So the comments, the reviews, the ratings are appreciated. Also, remember to send it to a friend, send it to 2 friends, send it to 3 friends if you love today's episode, all right? And even if you didn't, still send it to them to tell them how bad it is. I don't care what you do. Just send it to some folks, please. But remember to go to buffedupsports.com. That is the official Buffed Up Sports website. There you will have the social media links that I'm on. You will also find the platforms that the podcast is available on. And you will find the ways to, support the channel on with the cha-ching-ching, if you know what I'm saying. So remember these words. Spread love. Keep your chest out. Hold your head up. Show off them pretty teeth. And don't y'all worry about a thing. Until next time, y'all be good out there. And God bless you all. Peace.